Yo, Culture Confederates! Welcome back to the channel. Happy Friday, everybody. Culture Confederacy here. So there is so much news out there, and sorry I couldn't post anything on Wednesday. I tried posting something Wednesday, but I don't know if Google wasn't working or if YouTube was running slow. I couldn't upload anything to YouTube. So I'm just going to throw it in one video for Friday, and thank you again for watching, subscribing, being a part of this thing called the Culture Confederacy. And if you're new to the channel, no fancy graphics, epic soundtracks, pretty boy camera angles, so no bells and whistles as we talk about current events, culture, censorship. So that's what we do here on the channel. So we got to talk about Stewart Rhodes, because that's kind of a name associated with January 6th that really isn't talked about. He's kind of been overshadowed by the QAnon shaman, whatever that guy's name is, I forget. And of course, Trump, dishing out all these executive orders. And one of them is releasing more files on the JFK, MLK, and RFK assassinations. Now, I was researching this. Did you know that executive orders aren't really mentioned in the Constitution? There's no provision in the Constitution stating that the president is required to hand down an executive order. So at any rate, there is a lot of news out there, including a little story about Cleveland, what's going on in Cleveland, and what's going on in Illinois with their state flag or city flags. So I have to say this, Cleveland has it right. So shout out to those of you who are watching in Cleveland. Cleveland has it right on this issue about changing all these flags or redesigning these flags. And did you hear the latest with the SS United States? Now I did a story about this a while back. This is that ship. It was an iconic ship because it set the speed record for crossing the Atlantic Ocean back in the day. I think back in the 50s. So as I said, a lot of news to get to, so let's just get to this. Now, over at PBS, let's start with Stewart Rhodes. So, over at PBS, they had an article about 2 days ago saying that Stewart Rhodes, who was pardoned by Trump, among all these January 6 protesters, what have you, that he visited Capitol Hill. Now it's coming out today that he is according to the Washington Post and PBS and some other sources, that he is being barred from entering Capitol Hill, Washington, D.C. Well, I think more specifically Capitol Hill, but so that's going on. But one of the executive orders surrounds DEI. And over at Slip Disc, this is by Norman Lebrecht, if you know who Norman Lebrecht is, music critic. Now, Slip Disc is kind of like Rolling Stone. It's the #1 classical music website for reviews, that sort of thing. I think it's an awesome name for a website, Slip Disc. Can you rap artists out there come up with a name like that? Probably not. Hey, I'm just giving you a hard time. But Norman Lebrecht is saying that it's possible that these DEI policies or Trump's executive order regarding these DEI policies, he's getting rid of all these DEI departments, these employees. We're saying that could affect United States orchestras, these arts organizations. So what Trump's doing could have a major ripple effect down to the arts, you name it. So that's going on. But here's what's going on with the SS America, or the SS United States. I'm going to call it the SS American. But here's what's going on with the SS United States. This is over at New Jersey Spotlight News. Obstructionist. Tensions flare over U.S. Coast Guard's handling of SS United States. So just read you a little blurb here. And then I got to talk about what Judge Chutkan said about January 6th. Because if it is true what she is saying about January 6th, then I want to know in the comment section below. I need video. So it says here, it was not just stormy weather that delayed the planned departure of the SS United States from its Philadelphia pier in November. Okaloosa County, Florida, the new owners of the famed ocean liner. So what happened was you had the SS United States sitting at the port of Philadelphia. It was just basically rotting, causing kind of a health hazard, environmental hazard, if you will. And one of the concerns they had, its lease was up. One of the concerns they had was the integrity of the ship, its gravity or integrity of gravity. And that can be affected over the years with all of the different items that have been put on the ship, taken off the ship, moved about the ship. So anything that's moved on that ship, any additional weight, anything of that nature is going to affect the gravity of the ship, and that can affect the integrity of the ship in transport. And it's supposed to go down to Alabama, I believe, and then head down to Florida. They're going to sink it off the coast of Florida, make it into an artificial reef. But they had a stormy relationship, that they say here, with the U.S. Coast Guard, records reveal. And county officials groused the Coast Guard was foot-dragging, with one consultant accusing of being obstructionist. Ooh, ouch! Hundreds of emails Delaware Current secured through a public records request show. The departure of the heralded ocean liner, which is destined to be sunk as the world's largest artificial reef off the coast of Florida, as I said, has drawn worldwide intense attention from shipping enthusiasts, fans of the 990-foot vessel, and the news media. Now, here's where things get a little sticky. So the hurdle was getting the Coast Guard permits to move this ship, the SS United States, from Pier 82 in Philadelphia. It would be a 14-day journey. It's going to have its first stop in Mobile, Alabama, and it would be remediated of hazardous materials and prepared for sinking. So they're going to send it down there, then they'll get rid of any hazardous materials in Mobile, anything else they find. Then it's going to be taken to Florida, where it will be hopefully sunk off the coast of Florida. But the emails, it says here, paint a picture of a surprising stop-and-start process in which county officials complained of unexpected demands. As late as October 30th, roughly 2 weeks before its planned departure, it appears to be smooth sailing ahead. But then it goes on to say here, let me find this part here just to skip through the article for you for the sake of time. Now, this is according to the president of Martin, Ottawa, Van Hemmen, and Dolan, marine consulting firm, wrote in an email. His name is Rick F. Van Hemmen. He had a quote, "I am old and suffer fools easily. I had to hold back. That guy was very unprofessional," talking about this guy with the Coast Guard. That is what happens. 80% of the USCG wants to help, and then there are the 20% we have some type of complex with, or who have some type of complex that we have to deal with, and we hit that 20%er. So now they're hitting a snag where they can't get this ship to move out of the port of Philadelphia. This is just a big debacle. Big debacle. So let's get to the next story here. Moving right along. As I said, trying to fit everything in one video today. What's going on in Cleveland? So it's known as the Cleve Flag, or CLE Flag Project, to unveil winning design for a new Cleveland flag, according to this article here, over at Cleveland News. So they say here 570 submissions, 11,000 votes, and one winner will be the People's Flag of Cleveland. But Cleveland's got a clever way of doing this. So rather than spending all this taxpayer money to take down all these flags, let's say at the at City Hall or wherever, they're going to have two flags. They're going to have this new flag design that the people are choosing, and they're going to keep the old flag, but they've decided to will it down to 3 submissions. So it says here, that process started with an open call for submissions from Northeast Ohio, garnering, as I said, 570 designs. It continued with a 10-member committee that whittled down that mountain of ideas to 3 finalists that were put up for a public vote against the city's original and current official flag. Now, after 3 months of voting and some 11,000 votes cast, the group is almost ready to unveil the winning design, one that won't be officially adopted by the city of Cleveland, but one that they will hope will serve as a people's flag of Cleveland, flown and supported by residents. So way to go, Cleveland. Shout out to everybody in Cleveland. You're doing the right thing. You want to have a new flag design for the city. You're having the people vote on it. Maybe your state might vote on changing its flag. And the people are saying, you know what? Well, we'll design our own flag. We'll keep, that new design for ourselves. Just keep the flag as it is at the state level or at the city level. So way to go, Cleveland. Shout out to everybody in Cleveland. But on the flip side of the coin here, this is what's going on in Illinois. This is an opinion piece at Chicago Tribune. So this is by Brad Weinstein, and he is railing against the state of Illinois trying to change its state flag, and he mentions why. So I'm just going to read you a little blurb as I said from each article here. He says, something is certainly missing from this tally, talking about what it would cost, how many flags we're dealing with here, and he goes through the numbers. He says, but if we only replace state flags on the 102 county courthouses, 1,300 city halls, roughly 4,000 schools, and 8,700 state buildings, we're talking $2.5 million for all those all-weather state flags to post outside the buildings. Then there are flags for meeting rooms, classrooms, you name it. So the list goes on and on and on. So as a taxpayer who will ultimately pay for this excursion into history, symbolism, and nylon, I like it, that's funny, you should vote and vote every day as the commission has deemed is fair. Vote to keep what we've got, including our money. But he goes further. He says, there are plenty of things Illinois could use $2.5 million for, especially when our state budget keeps growing. Now listen to this. They have a record $53.1 billion currently budget, which is $15 billion more than what their, well, I think this is the projected budget for next year. I think for 2026, 25, or 2025 to 2026. 25, skipped a couple centuries there. But next year's budget faces a projected $3.2 billion deficit, and who knows what tax and fee hikes are going to fill that. So he said, $2.5 million is really a drop in the bucket compared to this $53.1 billion that we're dealing with here, this budget. But he says, the people should, keep the values and these traditions that we have alive here in the state of Illinois and keep the state flag and not change it at taxpayers' expense. It's going to cost more to design this new flag than replace all these flags than just to keep things as they are. That's what I'm trying to say here. So I thought I'd share this with you. A lot to get to in the video today. I know. Thank you for being with me. Let me kind of work my way through this. It's another one-take type. Hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't know what to do, you can follow me at Instagram, #JasonComposes. Because I write music in my spare time, you can go to X, Culture Confederacy, at Culture Confed 1 on X. Now you can find me at Substack. This is the Culture Confederacy saying peace out. Stay safe, everybody. God bless this thing called the United States. I'll catch you next time, and y'all have a great Friday. Take care.